Do you with Excel formulas, wondering why you're getting these different error messages or why a value looks like it's probably not right? For a lot of people, Excel formulas are the hardest part of learning Excel. And I can tell you from 30 years of teaching Excel why that is. Most people were never taught the fundamentals behind how formulas work. They were not necessarily formally trained. They were thrown into a job and had to begin learning on their own. So it's missing knowledge. So two things you're going to learn before you leave this video is how to write formulas in relative versus absolute. I do want to say that if you're taking notes, relative referencing is the default in Excel when you copy a formula. Let's get started with this spreadsheet, which has an issue. In the sales commission, you can see there are some values, and then there's no value in these two, and then there's an error message that says pound value. And what you want to know is why. So we're going to start first with the absolute referencing. That's the one that people are usually not taught, and it is the foundation of every formula that you will ever write, whether it's simple or a complex formula you're writing. And once you understand this formula, you will stop feeling like it's guesswork and it'll start making sense. I think it's going to be a light bulb moment for many of you, so let's get started. Here's the goal on this one. It's a group of salespeople. It's quarterly sales. It's a grand total of their sales, and these people are commissioned by 8.5%. And this column has a very simple formula of multiplying the total against 8.5% that is located in B1. The formula is already in place. Let's take a look at it. I'm just double clicking to open it up. So here we are, equal G6, and row 6 is the first record row that has the employees' sales over the quarters and the total. And then it's multiplying back by G1. You can see how Excel puts boxes around the cells that have been referenced. And when I press enter, that one's going to be great. But when I copy down, I'm getting this value for Maryland in row 7 that I know is absolutely incorrect. And then when it comes to the rest of the employees, 2 of which there's no value in there at all. And for Allison in row 10, I'm getting a value message. And here's why. This formula, when it was written, needs to be written in what's called a mixed reference. That means it's going to be a combination of relative and a combination of absolute referencing. So if you're taking notes, a dollar sign is what you use to specify that either a column or a row or both be absolute, meaning it doesn't change. Let's just talk about the relative piece first, because you understanding that is going to help you understand absolute. So as I look at the formula, it's multiplying again. It's taking what's in G6, so that's Matthew's record. It's in row 6, and it's multiplying by B1. Whenever you copy a formula in Excel, if it hasn't been absolute referenced, then Excel will always change the row number on both sides of the formula when it copies down. And that's what we're doing first. We're copying vertically. So I'm in column H writing this formula. I'm not copying across, I'm copying down. So I'm going to go ahead and let you take a look. I'll delete what I've got here already and let you see. And we're almost getting to that point about the absolute referencing. So here's the formula. It's written and you think everything's good to go. But because of the fact that there wasn't absolute referencing signals to Excel, this is the formula as it existed before we are about to modify it. So then when I double click the sales commission for Maryland, who's in row 7, it's multiplying G7, which is great. That's Maryland's record of sales, times B2, and that's wrong because when you look up at the spreadsheet in B2, there's a bonus threshold that's going to be used to create the performance bonus numbers. But Excel's doing its job based upon your instructions. It's going to change the row as you copy down. So it's picking up row 7 and then it's incrementing, going from B1 to B2, and then one more to drive home the point. Here we are on this one, G8 times B3. There's nothing in B3, but G8 is Alice's record, which is great. So that's why you're getting no value. And B4 has nothing in it. Here's the formula in the cell for commission. Therefore, you're getting nothing. But then the last one, Allison White, we open up the formula and it is picking up row 10, but it's multiplying by B5. And B5 has text in it, which is the region. That's why you're getting the pound value message, is because Excel is anticipating that there should be a value there because you're doing a formula that's multiplying. And that's why you're getting that message. Now that you understand what's happening, how do we correct it? And that's what we're going to do right now. So remember, your $ is what tells Excel what should be absolute referenced. We're creating or modifying this formula to be a combination of relative, which means you want Excel to continue to change the row record, because again, we're copying vertical, we're changing row position. So G6 will become G7, you know that, times B1, but I don't want B1 to become B2, 3, etc. It's the row number that needs to be absolute referenced, which is that signal to Excel, don't increment this row number. I'm in edit mode. I double click the cell to be in edit mode. And you can use, if you're taking notes, function key F4 is a hotkey that when you are in edit mode will produce the $ for whatever cell that you're blinking in there. Now, if I press function key F4, it will absolute reference both the column and the row number. And now, in our case, this formula is never going to be copied across. Therefore, there's really no need to absolute reference B, so it doesn't become C or D, because I'm not copying across. It wouldn't hurt anything if you left it that way. What's most important in this formula is to specify which part of that cell should not change when copied. So it's the 1. I don't want it to then pick up the value in B2 in the B3. Therefore, I'm going to press function key F4 one more time, although, you can manually type the numbers if you want to. Just remember this. When you're placing the $ that signals to Excel that it should no longer be using relative referencing for that specific cell, the $ always has to be to the left of whatever it is that you do not want Excel to change based upon its relative position when copied. And it's the row 1 that I need to maintain row 1 all the way down. That's why I have a $ to the left of 1. Now, when I press enter, the first one was right anyway. The errors or the miscalculations, they occur once I start copying the formula. But we have a good formula here now. So let's copy it down. I'm going to the lower right corner of this cell. I'm in H6. Just a quick side note. When you're in the lower right corner of any cell, you will get a cross-haired symbol. It's for auto-filling, if you didn't know that. And this shortcut I'm about to use only works when you're copying down. So I'm going to do a double click. That's the shortcut. Double click, and the formula comes all the way down. The reason why we have nothing in the bottom cell is because this is the row for quarterly totals, and I don't have a formula yet, so I'm getting no value. But let's take a look. The original formula, we modified it so that it doesn't change B1, but it will change the row number. Matthew's row 6 is his record. Now let's look at the second one. This one is for Marilyn. She's in row 7 record. And I open it up, and it has relatively changed to G7, but it has absolutely not changed the reference to B1, specifically row 1. It's locked in. So now this formula, if you want to, I think it's important for you to know terms. What this formula is a combination of relative and absolute, and that is officially known as a mixed reference formula. This is a very important concept for you. Now let's go to let's finish up with, well, there are a couple of things I want to tell you before we finish, but let's focus on totaling up the values for these quarters by just simply using an auto sum, and then I'm going to copy it across where we're going to talk about relative referencing again. In this one, I'm in cell C11 ready to total up quarter 1, and on the home ribbon I'm just going to double click auto sum to quickly give me the sum, and there it is. So let's look at the back end formula. I'm double clicking that cell. It is summing the values in C6 through C10. And I'm in column C and I'm in C11. But this formula is going to be copied across, and I want it to relatively change based upon where I'm copying to. So remember, if you're copying down, Excel picks up a new row value unless you specified that it shouldn't through absolute referencing. In this one, it's adding up C6 through C10. That's the quarter 1. Quarter 2 is actually in D2 through D10. So remember, we're copying across. I'll go ahead and press enter to get it in the mode where I can copy. And I'm on that cell that contains the total for quarter. And I'm going to use the autofill handle to quickly copy across. Now remember, I'm copying across, so that double click is not going to give you that shortcut of copying to the right. So I have to click, hold, and drag through quarter 4 and let go. And now it has relatively referenced a new column each time I copy. Well, here's the original formula. Sum everything that's in column C, specifically C6 through C10. But when copied to the right, the relative reference changes because we changed column position. Now it's saying sum D6 colon D10. Here are some tips for you that I've written if you want to screenshot it. I won't talk all about it here, but I have created for you information about relative referencing, absolute referencing, and we went through what's written here when I took you through it. So I'm hoping that this helps you better understand what's happening when you copy formulas, because actually there's two important things. One of the most important things is that you understand what relative means versus absolute, and to understand that Excel's default behavior when you copy a formula, whether you're copying it vertically or across, it is programmed to relatively reference the cells based upon where you're copying. But those times when you need it to stay referencing to a specific cell, whether that be column, row, or both, you have to make it absolute. And the instructions for absolute, Excel is signaled by those dollar signs that you're placing in that formula. And since we haven't formally met, my name is Donna Gilliland, and I am the founder of Moss Training, where for 21 years with this company, I have taught and continue to teach Microsoft Office solutions, so the entire Microsoft 365 suite. I hope you found this helpful. Go try it out. And if you are not subscribing to my channel yet, I suggest you do. That way when I'm uploading something new, you'll be notified. And feel free to leave your comments. I'll try to come back and check them. And I hope this helps.